Good morning, class. Welcome to the online classes for physics of class 12. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is electromagnetic induction. By the word itself, it is clear that here the electric current and the magnetic field is both relation we are going to see, and we have to see that in the previous chapter what we have seen, that a moving charges produces magnetism, but in reverse today we are going to see that the changing magnetic field can also produce the electric current. So how a charge move and produces magnetic field around it. Similarly, a moving magnetic field or the change in the magnetic field, it can produce electric current also. So here we will be seeing some topics which can tell us about this relation. Firstly, we are going to see about the magnetic flux. So what does electric flux or the magnetic flux means? The field lines or the total number of the field lines crossing perpendicular to any field, right? Crossing perpendicular to any area or that surface area, how much the lines are perpendicular to it. So that is said to be flux. So this is what the magnetic flux is. When we talk about the magnetic and the electric flux, in the last electrostatics and the dynamic currents, you have seen that whenever the electric field lines are normal to that of the surface area, so number of the total lines passing normally to the electric field area, that small area, surface area, is said to be the electric flux. Similarly, now it is magnetic flux. So number of the total magnetic line of forces passing through per unit area of that surface is said to be the flux. So it can be defined as magnetic flux as the total number of the magnetic lines of forces passing through the surface area that is perpendicular to that surface. So we can say that it is a scalar quantity because it does not depend on the direction. So the uniform magnetic field, that is B, will be perpendicular through the plane surface area A, then it will be taken as the magnetic flux. So what are the things that will be depend on? That is the magnetic flux. It will depend on the magnetic flux, that magnetic field lines, that how much the lines are going to pass through that particular area, that is B, area of that surface given by A, that how much the surface area will be. So number of the magnetic lines perpendicular to it will be more. So it will depend on the area, magnetic field, and the orientation, that is we can say that the angle between it. So it will depend on a current small area element, that is A, depend on the orientation between that both components, that is area component and the magnetic field given by theta, that is drawn between the magnetic field and the surface area or that small area element, we can say. So it will depend on the theta, it will depend on magnetic field, it will depend on the area of that surface. So we can give it as BA cos theta, which is the horizontal component, we can say, because the horizontal components, B's horizontal component will be taken in between it. Theta is between the horizontal component of the magnetic field B and the area element DA. So it can be given as BA cos theta. Okay. So we know that this BA cos theta, if we take the small area element, then it will be DA. On integrating it, we can find out the value of the phi also, which is given as BDA. On integrating, we get BA. So we can know from that the formula for the magnetic flux will be phi equals to BA. Now, if we have to find out the dimension for it, we can use that magnetic field was given as F is equals to QVB sin theta. From there, B's value will be F upon QV. That QV and area will be there for phi, so it will be A. So finding out this dimensional formula, we can see here that mL2 ampere was taken as A inverse and T to the power minus 2. So we know that the flux can be given as Weber, which is equal to that of Tesla meter square. So 1 Weber will be equal to the 1 Tesla and 1 unit area, that is 1 meter square. And for CGS unit, it will be taken in the Gauss, that is 10 to the power 4. Tesla given as 10 to the power 4 Gauss, and the meter square will be changed into centimeter, then it will be also 10 to the power 4 centimeters square. Okay. So this is what the magnetic flux is. Okay, and we know what that in this chapter we're going to see that whenever there is a magnetic change in the magnetic flux, it will induce some current. So first time this was done by an experiment which was done by the Faraday. So Faraday and Henry, both of them performed the experiments and saw that whenever a magnet is moved through a conductor or a current carrying coil, then some induced EMF can be seen over there, because we are not giving any external electric field to it, so the induced current will be in the form of EMF itself, that is without any external electric field. So whenever this magnet is just movable, because in that last chapter we have seen the moving charge produces magnetism, similarly a moving magnet can also produce a electric field, and this electric field is due to this moving magnetic field. Whenever the magnet is moved, let us consider that you are having a magnet piece that will be having the two poles, that is north and the south pole. Whenever this is moved through a current carrying coil inside and outside way, if you are trying to move it, then what will happen, that the magnetic lines or forces of this magnet will be passing through that current carrying coils. So the number of the magnetic field lines that are parallel or perpendicular to that area of the closed circuit of that current carrying coil, so number of lines parallel to that, a number of lines normal to that surface area will be taken as flux. So whatever the flux, number of flux are changing, that is because whenever the magnet is moved inside to it or towards the coil, or when it is moved away from the coil, then there is a change in the magnetic flux. The number of the flux will be changed, because number of lines passing through the surface area will be changing. So the changing magnetic flux, we can say that the current or the EMF is also changed. So since the EMF is induced, and that too due to the varying magnetic field. So from here the Faraday have induced that whenever the magnetic field is changed or a moving magnetic field, the current is induced or the EMF induced. Similarly, if the movable magnetic coil is taken and the stationary magnet is also taken, then also the EMF is induced in the coil. So what we can say, that whether the magnet is movable or the current carrying coil is movable, there can be some induced EMF, and this induced EMF is due to the movable magnet or due to the moving coil. Okay, so what we can say, that the EMF is induced due to the movable magnetic field. So this is what the electromagnetic induction, which means the current is induced by the magnetism. So what we can say in easy words, that the phenomenon of producing an induced EMF, that too due to the change in the magnetic field, and this change in magnetic field means that the number of the flux lines within the closed circuit will change, due to which the EMF is induced. And this electromagnetic induction can seen in different forms in our home also, that it can happen in the generators, that are the electric generators which we are using, in the transformers, because number of the magnetic flux lines will be changing within the coils. It will depend on the induction. After that we will be seeing the types of induction. In that we can see how this transformer will induce the EMF in it. Okay, so from here the Faraday had given some laws, or we can say that the law of electromagnetic induction, because one will be the Lenz's law and the second one will be the Faraday's law. So these are the laws of the electromagnetic induction. Okay, so what we have seen, that whenever the magnet is movable, then the electric field or the EMF is induced. Here you can see the maximum flux or the magnetic flux, that what the magnetic flux will depend on, since the number of the magnetic lines of forces will depend on the dense magnetic field. So whatever the magnetic fields will having it, the number of lines of forces will also be changing. So when we take a lens, when we take a magnet of a high magnetic field, then the number of the lines of forces will increase. So whenever we are taking through the current carrying coil, the number of the magnetic field lines passing through it, then the flux will also increase. And if you are taking the area, when it is perpendicular to that of the magnetic lines of the forces, then the number of the lines passing through it normally will be also more. So the flux density will also increase. So the magnetic flux density is the number of the lines of forces passing normally to that area. If you take a small area, then the lines of forces passing through it will be small. So that area will should be perpendicular to that of the lines of the forces. So whatever the area of the cross section will be, so the magnetic lines of the forces passing through will be also increasing. So what it will depend on, that it will be depend on the magnetic field, that the how much the density of the lines of the forces coming from that magnet, and it will depend on the area, that how much line of the forces passing perpendicular to that area. So the product of that B and A was given as magnetic flux, and we have seen that whenever a magnet is moved through the current carrying coil, then there is a change in the current. So movable magnet can produce a EMF through that wire. So to see this, Faraday had did the experiment that current carrying coils, he just connected the end of the coils to the galvanometer, and he see what the galvanometer's deflection is, and it shows the deflection when there is some current. So whenever this current carrying coil shows the deflection, what that means, that some current is induced over there. So when this magnet is just allowed to move inside and outside through that current carrying coil, there is a change in the direction in the deflection of the galvanometer, which means that due to this magnetic field there is a change in the direction of the current also, and there is some induced EMF also. So what can be seen, that the magnetic field whenever it is movable, then the electric flux or the magnetic flux lines changes due to this magnet, and the density changes, due to which the induced EMF value is also changed. So whenever the magnetic flux linked with the closed circuit, the EMF is set up in it, and the magnetic flux lines whenever it changes, then the induced EMF will also change. So if the rate of the change of the magnetic flux is increased, then the induced EMF will also increase, and if the magnetic flux decrease, then the induced EMF will also decrease. So what were the laws that is given by the electromagnetic induction? First was given by the Faraday, which gives that Faraday's law will tell us about the induced EMF and its magnitude, and Lenz's law will give us about the direction. So what was the first law? That is, Faraday was given about the two laws, that first one will be telling about the magnitude, the second one will also tell about the magnitude, that is a closed circuit, that how much the magnetic flux and changes. So what was the first law of the Faraday? That whenever the magnetic flux is allowed to pass through the closed circuit, that is whenever the magnet is movable through the closed circuit, then the EMF is induced in it, and this induced EMF is due to the change in the flux of the magnet, that when we are taking inside it, then the line of the forces will be through that current carrying coil. So how many lines are parallel or the perpendicular normal to that surface area of the coil, it will be taken as the induced EMF. So this phenomenon is called the electromagnetic induction. This was given by the first law of the Faraday. Similarly, if we will talk about the second law, then he told that the magnet is tried to change through the coil, then the line of the forces passing through the normally to the coil will also change. So what we can say, that the magnetic flux changes, and when we taken it out in the direction, that is north and the south pole, when it is changing, then the direction of the current or the galvanometer through which we can see the deflection will also change. So we can say that the magnitude of the electromagnetic induction or that induced EMF in that coil will be linked with that closed circuit magnetic flux, which is perpendicular or normal to that of the surface area. So what we can say, that the induced EMF or that magnetic fields, its magnitude will be directly proportional to the rate of the change of the magnetic flux with respect to the time. So change in the magnetic flux will give us the induced EMF. But what the Lenz rules tell us, that whenever this law states that the magnet is movable and it is moving or opposes taken the magnet in the different direction, and it is again movable, then what it happens, the magnetic flux changes, and these magnetic flux will oppose a change in the current, that is induced EMF will be opposed through it. So what we can say, that there is a change in the magnetic field but in the negative direction. So the direction of the induced EMF will oppose the change in the magnetic field. So the magnetic flux will be opposed. So we can take it as negative sign. So that come from the Lenz law. So this were the three laws which were given for the law of the electromagnetic induction. Okay. So what we can take it as, if we take the EMF as E, that is EMF is given as E, so which will be directly proportional to the change in the magnetic flux lines with respect to the time. If we talk about the Faraday's law, then it gives the magnitude, so we will be taking as mode. And from Lenz law, what we can say, that this epsilon will be given as minus d phi by dt, that is it opposes a change in the magnetic flux. So it is given as minus d phi by dt. Now what this magnetic flux will depend on, that is the number of the turns, because what is the number of the turns on the coil will So the number of the magnetic lines of the forces will be perpendicular to that flux, will be perpendicular to that of surface area. So number of turns will increase the flux areas to be normally perpendicular to it, and number of the flux will be changes, the induced EMF will also change. So it will depend on the number of the turns also, which is given as n d phi by dt. And if we talk about the change in the flux lines, that is phi 2 minus phi 1 can also be taken for this d phi by dt. So we can write it as d phi by dt also. So epsilon can be given as minus n. Phi 2 minus phi 1 can also be given for d phi by dt. So this is what the formula for the induced EMF. From there, if we have take this phi 2 as BA, then it will be taken as BA2 minus A1 upon T also. So A will be taken A2 and A1, but B will be the same because the change in the magnetic field will be same, but the magnetic flux will change. Okay, so this can be given for the induced EMF. So what was the laws for the electromagnetic induction? That is the Lenz's law, and two were the Faraday's law was given. So what we can say that it can be seen in the EMF, induced EMF for the electromagnetic induction, that is whenever the rectangular coil is movable between the two magnets, that is we can see in the AC generators also, that whenever this Fleming right hand rule can be seen in the AC generators or the dynamos, we can say that the rectangular coil was taken in between the two magnets that will try to make that rectangular coil to move, and this rotation is due to the magnet, and this rotation will provide the electromagnetic induction through that coil, and we get the current due to this mechanical rotation of that coil. So this mechanical energy changes into the electrical energy in the dynamo or the generator. So here also the Faraday's law will be used, and the electromagnetic induction will be the principle for the AC generator. Okay, so this what the induced EMF can be seen, and this induced EMF can be given as that it will depend on the phi, that is magnetic flux, and this magnetic flux will be depending on the changing the magnetic field B. If we change the B, the magnetic flux will change. If we change the area of the coil A, then also it can be changed, and the orientation, that is the angle between the horizontal component of the magnetic field and the area, if this also change the magnetic field, the orientation can be changed, then the flux lines of that magnetic flux will also change. So this is what the Lenz's law, Faraday's law, and the electromagnetic induction. In the next class, we will be seeing the self-induction and the mutual induction due to this electromagnetic induction. Here, one more thing you can see here, that is we have talked about the generating induced EMF, that whenever the coil is try to move through a magnetic field, and some torque will produce on it, and the will move with an angle theta, then the orientation will be there. So this torque is just allowing this rectangular coil to move in the magnetic field. So what will happen here, the induced EMF will be there, which will depend on the change in the magnetic flux lines. Here we will be taking as phi as BA cos theta, because cos theta here we taken it as omega t, because change in omega we can change that angular displacement upon time, that is given by theta upon t, and for theta it will be omega t. Keeping that value in the cos theta, it will be taken as cos omega t, and on differentiating it, because d phi by theta will be equal to d phi by dt will be equal to the induced EMF, so we can take it as BA omega sin omega t. And what is BA? That is the area of that field, magnetic field B, and omega will be the angular velocity with which it is moving, and the sin omega t will be the orientation. So total induced EMF can be given as NBA sin omega t, because BA sin omega t we have seen how it came from the differentiation, and N will be the number of the turns of that coil. So this was the induced EMF due to the changing, or the method of inducing EMF with the changing movable magnet. So here you can see that by this moving magnet, we can see that the induced EMF varies sinusoidally, that is it will moving with a sine wave. So we can see here that it is changing in the upward and the downward direction, that is negative half cycle and the positive half cycle is there. So when the plane of the coil is parallel to the magnetic field, then there will be the maximum value in the upward direction, and when it is changed, again it will be in the downward direction. So when it is perpendicular to the magnetic field, then it is taken in the positive half. When it is parallel to the magnetic field, taken in the negative half. So we can say that the sine wave can be formed in this induced EMF, that is the change in the induced EMF with respect to the time. So with the changing theta, we can get the value, that is omega t will be changed. So the theta's value will be changed. That is, if one it is 0 degree, then the induced EMF will be 0. Then if it is 90 degree, that is rotated with the angle 90 degree, so induced EMF will be maximum. So if it is rotated again parallel to the magnetic field, that is taken as 180 degree, then again the induced EMF will be 0. So with the changing this values theta, that is omega t, will be changed. So the induced EMF will also changed. So we have learned here till that what is the induced EMF and how can we induce EMF in a coil. So after this we will be seeing eddy currents and the self induction and the mutual induction. So thank you class. In the next class we will be seeing the topics.